Grev Shabbos, everyone. Parshas Ekev, the Shabbos after Tu B'Av, the happiest day of the year, like it says in Mishnayos Tainus, Gemara Tainus. So the in Parshas Ekev we learned the amazing Sicha this morning that the Rebbe said on Shabbos Ekev Tafshin Chafalf 1961, and this week's Parsha Ekev really the first Parsha in Devarim that really focuses on Eretz Yisrael. The first Parsha Devarim was talking about the tests that we tested Hashem and the challenges we had in the desert. Last week's Parsha was really focused on Matan Torah and the giving of the Torah. This week's Parsha, it includes also a lot that happens over the time of Matan Torah, the 120 days that Moshe Rabbeinu went up 3 times to heaven to receive the first luchos, to achieve atonement, and then obviously like Rosh Chodesh Elul until after Yom Kippur to get a final slicha, a final atonement, and the second set of luchos, like it says in the 6th parsha, that God gave it complete with a full heart, b'ratzon, with a willingness towards the Jewish people. But really, there's a lot of the focus is about Eretz Yisrael, and the reason is because that we know that the real beginning of making this world into a dwelling place for Hashem, and was mamash reached its peak at the time of Shlomo Melech when he built the second Beis Hamikdash, with David Melech preparing for it. Is once we entered the land into Eretz Neshavas, into a land that we could settle, that we could be engaged in. And really the 40 years of the desert was a preparation. And a lot of the experiences that we had in the desert was to prepare us for this journey to make this world into a dwelling place for Hashem. And therefore we had all these challenges. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu tells us. Then there was the tremendous challenges in the desert because the desert was a place that Hashem was preparing us to go into Eretz Yisrael. And one of the ideas that talks about is the idea of the man, of the food that we had. And the Rebbe says an amazing concept. I mean, when the Torah goes this week and discusses about the tests, the nisyonis, the tests that we go through, the challenges that we go through, the distractions that we go through, the Torah uses the word ladas, that we should know, that seemingly Hashem should know how solid we are, but also we should know how solid we are, how prepared we are, how ready we are. And the man actually seems like it was, God gave food from heaven. Gemara Numa says came with diamonds and precious stones, and we had everything we needed, and it seemed like it was okay. And actually the man was a very, very complicated situation. It was very unsettling for the Jewish people. We see they complained about the man. They complained about the food from heaven, the bread from heaven, because we're not wired that way. A person is wired that we have dependencies, but we have knowledge, we have understanding of how things are. If we work, we hope that we're quite certain that we get paid at the end of the week, hopefully. I mean, if we're in a situation where we don't, that's not good. And we kind of plan according to what we understand. But a situation to be in where we have no idea, and the idea of the man is a person went to sleep at night, there was no food in the pantry, there was no food in the fridge, there was nothing left. It was totally, absolutely trust in Hashem. And although what you got was limitless, you were able to taste any foods, it came with diamonds, gold, but it was a tremendous amount of emunah. And basically what Hashem was rewiring the human people, the Jewish people, that although we're not typically made to be so reliant and to be so unsettled, that in order to go into Eretz Yisrael and to make Eretz Yisrael into a place of a dir b'tachtonim, we have to be able to go in, and the foundation of our experiences there, and the foundation of what we're building, is not to be in a situation where we think we create our situation. Like the Rebbe says, there's a challenge of the wealthy person, a challenge of the poor person. The challenge of the wealthy person is that the wealthy person believes that he or she made their destiny. I worked hard, I educated myself, I spent many years and a lot of time to build up. Like the Torah says in this week's Parsha, Koichi v'atzim, a person thinks that I've made it, I've used my own koach. And then the Torah says, no, it's God's strength, that He strengthens us and He gives us the ability and the tools and He makes it happen for us. And the same thing, a person that is suffering through poverty may think that what's going on, this bad coming down is befalling me. It doesn't connect the dots possibly that it's a way of a tshuva and a way of a cleansing process. But however we look at it, whether you're experiencing one side or the other side of the coin, and the different side, sometimes you could be experiencing both, that we have to understand, in order to go into land and to make it happen, we have to have absolute bitachon and trust in Hashem, and not to convince ourselves that it's us creating this. And therefore we had to go 40 years in the desert. We had everything we needed, but we didn't have that certainty, and we had to kind of rewire ourselves to have this bitachon in Hashem. And so just like in the days of old, we went to Eretz Yisrael, It was the beginning of a futuristic time, and the beginning of the time that led to the building of the Beis Hamikdash. It should all come together, like the Baal Shem Tov says that in our lifetime we go through the 42 travels. We should go into the land, and then it's going to be the land the way it's conquered with Mashiach, building the Beis Hamikdash right away, Tchias HaMeis, and resurrection of the dead. It should happen speedily in our times. Good Shabbos.